Hello and welcome to the second semi-finals game of the 16th season of the Africa TV StarCraft League, brought to you by Hot6. Following Sulky's victory in yesterday's series that went all the way to the very last map, today we will be deciding our second finalist as Mini and effOrt take the stage in the second round of 4 match. Let's take a deep dive into how both players got here in the first place. Taking a look at Mini's record, starting with a round of 24, he took down Lita in the opening match, but then fell victim to Soma in the winner's bout. However, meeting Lita once again in the decider, Mini came out on top, moving on to the round of 16 with a second place seed. In the round of 16, losing to Rush in the opener, Mini took a clean 2-0 over Killer in the losers match, and sealed the deal with a 2-1 victory over last season's runner-up Mind, once again advancing with a second place seed. In the following round of 8 series against Sharp, Mini dropped the first map, nonetheless managing to turn things around from the second map onwards to take the series and move on to the semi-finals. Now, what has effOrt Season 16 looked like so far? Despite dropping the first game of the round of 24 against Action, effOrt scored points in the losers and the decider matches to get a second place seed into the next round, just like Mini. In the round of 16 that followed, effOrt first took down Soma and then last season's champion JYJ to claim a first place seed into the quarterfinals. Once again unstoppable in the round of 8, effOrt did not yield a single map to Action in their ZVZ, taking a clean 3-0 to move on to the semi-finals. Now let's take a look at both players' round of 4 history in the ASL. Facing off against Zerg in the semi-finals of Season 7, Season 11 and Season 12, Mini scored victories in all 3, giving him a 100% win ratio against Zerg in ASL round of 4. On the other hand, effOrt has run into all 3 races in his ASL round of 4 history. Winning the first 2, effOrt's round of 4 exploits were finally stopped by none other than Mini himself. With both players once again facing off after a long spell, this series is a must-watch. Let's now move on to the storylines involving either player advancing to the finals. If Mini wins today, this would be his 4th ASL Grand Final. Mini already holds the record for most finals appearances amongst all Protoss players. This would also mean the return of Protoss into the Grand Final since reign in Season 13. Additionally, bearing in mind Sulky has already moved on, this would be the 3rd ever Protoss vs Zerg final match in ASL history. If effOrt moves on, however, this would be his 3rd ever ASL Grand Final. It would also make him the player with the most finals appearances amongst his respective race, as is the case with his opponent Mini. Once again, with Sulky already waiting, this would be the 2nd ever Zerg vs Zerg Grand Final, with the first one happening in Season 10. We've just taken a look at the path that brought both players to this moment, and the potential storylines that should either claim victory in today's series. Now, what do their fellow ASL 16 players think this semi-final will look like? A difficult one to predict indeed, as out of the 12 players polled, we have a tie, with 6 players opting for either side, including a 4-3 prediction in favor of Mini from Bisu, JYJ and Ample. Similarly, Calm, Mind and Sharp predict a full set 4-3 victory for effOrt. With ASL players themselves split like this, today's match doesn't seem to be one with a clear favourite. Now, we also polled ASL viewers about their thoughts. With votes coming in online all the way until the start of the broadcast, 52.8% of viewers predict effOrt will indeed move on to his 3rd ever ASL Grand Final. Again, not as big of a difference in opinions. Stay tuned to find out what today's result turns out to be. You're watching the second semi-finals game of the 16th season of ASL with Hot6. Is Mini going to get his 4th Grand Final appearance, or perhaps will effOrt take this opportunity to get his 3rd Grand Final? Let's kick things off and find out. Africa TV StarCraft League Season 16 with Hot 6 continues, as today's match solidifies our championship bracket. With two players vying for a spot in the grand finals, let's have a word with Mini and effOrt ahead of today's game. Mini, you're in the round of 4, and you're meeting a Zerg. One more series to get through, and you're in the finals. Today's Zerg is one you've already defeated, the same Zerg from Season 7. How do you feel about meeting him again? I'm pretty happy with my PvZ. I expect today to go my way too. If you take a look at effOrt's most recent exploits, he's gotten really strong. The Hawk has taken flight. Do you think effOrt will soar like a phoenix? What do you think? For me, you know, so Rain and effOrt don't always participate in ASL. But seeing how effOrt decided to play this time, I actually expected him to get really far. Players who are good with air control are quite demanding opponents in a tournament setting, but that won't fly with me. Oh wow, even if it comes down to a control fight, to a fight of whose fingers work better, even if effOrt rises like a phoenix, that won't be enough. Mini has gotten here at the back of his control. What do you say, Mr. Hawk? Can you take him down in a micro battle? I have some confidence, but Mini is a player who has who's pulled a quick one on me before in a best of 5+, so this time around I'll have to do that to him. Seeing how Mini is now standing in your way here in the semifinals, looking at his previous matches, did you expect him to make it this far? You know, back in the round of 16, I actually told JYJ to look out for Mini and Sulky. He didn't take that into account, and this is what happened. This is why we're here. So tell me this. Looking at Mini and the solid form he has shown now, do you think he's the best Protoss in all of ASL? He's definitely one of the best Protoss players ever in ASL, but definitely not number one. The last Protoss, but not the best. So, just another stepping stone to help the Hawk take off. Well, a fitting opponent for the round of 4, I guess. Well, he's calling you out, Mini. But if we count your wins, you already have 2 ASL championships. You pretty much always win these longer series. Are you scared of effOrt's class? Let's start with this. Isn't Zero the best Zerg in ASL's history? So Zero's number 1. What about this guy here? What about effOrt? I've already beaten the best Zerg twice in a round of 4 already. effOrt isn't as good as Zero, so I should be okay today, right? A second-rate Zerg below Zero. Not as good as Zero. We're talking about class here, effOrt. Do you think you can rise above Zero and take down someone like Mini today? Didn't that Zerg get knocked out somewhere in the round of 24? Yeah. I will definitely win today. And what score would you predict this series to end with then? Well, Mini's not an easy opponent to beat. So if I win, I think it'll be effOrt too. So which aspect of Mini's play are you afraid of? His playstyle is a bit perverted. Oh, he plays like a pervert. Got it. So what do you think of effOrt's playstyle, Mini? Just like Sharp, effOrt just plays weird. I always get confused, so I think I'll just need to make sure I'm composed today. He plays weird, but you feel you can stop him. If you win, what score will it be? I wish for a 4-0, but it won't be easy, so I think a 4-3 win is more realistic. A 4-3, another series that goes to the end. Before we start, do you have anything to say to effOrt before the game begins? I've caused you trouble in a longer series before. I'll do it again. Just make sure to come back next season so you can try and get your revenge. He's telling you to come back next season after he beats you here. What do you have to say to that?
일단 그런 불상사가 벌어지지 않도록 오늘 꼭 이겨야겠습니다.
Well, let's not have that happen. I'll have to win today. I'll do my best. Got it. And so with this, we have our two players facing off for a spot in the grand final. Please give a warm round of applause as we kick off this second round of 4 match.
새 시즌 만에 돌아와서 5시즌 만에 정말 오랜만에 모습을 드러냈는데
바로 8강에
노련미가 달라요.
완벽한 선택이었던 것 같습니다.
총만 해주고 다 스커즈로 바꿨죠.
자,
딱
여기서
빠지고 저울링 집어넣고
계속 3대0 스코어 만들어내면서 4강전에 좀 올라서게 됐어요.
결승이 점점 더 가까워지고 있습니다.
또 우승 경력도 있는데다가 다전제에서 왕입니다. 왕. 9승 1패.
한 번밖에 패배가 없다.
저승사자 변현재 김정 선수를 데려갑니다.
세 개가 동시에
여기서 리버. 와, 이 싸움에서 변현재 이런 싸움 굉장히 즐겨야죠. 시제 마지막 프로토스 변현재 4강 진출.
어떤 선택을 해야 되지 고민하게끔 만드는 변현재의 움직임.
진짜 김정우 일반적으로 이건 수비적으로 플레이를 하지 않나?
I'm so hype, Tastosis. Oh my god, this is going to be so fun.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to be an unbelievable match. The best Protoss around, probably the best PvZ that we have since the old days of Bisu, even though Bisu's still very good. And then going against a legendary Zerg player.
Yeah, you know, these are two really interesting players to have duking it out. effOrt is such a solid, scary Zerg that seems to be really back in form. And Mini is a Protoss like we've never really had before. I'm very curious how this is going to go. I think it's a very tough one to call. There's been a lot of speculation about this. But we're either going to have a ZVZ finals here with Sulky taking him on versus effOrt, or it's going to be a PvZ. Either one I'm totally fine with.
Yeah. I think that both are very good finals, especially with how ZVZ has really changed recently. I am rooting for Mini, though. I kind of want that crazy journey of being like the last Protoss in the tournament to go really, really far, all the way to the finals would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be a very nice touch. And effOrt, you know, for me, it was still sinking in the round of 8 that he had actually gotten this deep. I didn't really believe that he had it in him to get all the way to the finals, but I think he's a very realistic threat. Of course, we just finished the round of 4 match 1 the other day, Rush versus Sulky. We could not have asked for a better series. And today we're going to wrap up the round of 4 with these two.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's going to be a close match. I really could see either side taking this, right? Like, Mini's unbelievable planning and sense of what he can get away with in PvZ, and then effOrt just being the legend that he is. If I look at the tournament as a whole, though, Tasteless, I believe I said it in the round of 24 that I thought effOrt would end up taking this down. Like, his play looks like it used to. And when that's the case, I'm like, well, no one can beat him, literally, because he's beaten Flash both times they played in a final. So, like, he is actually, in a lot of ways, the most unstoppable pro when he's on.
It's just weird to have him here in 2023 playing this well. We had a lot of great players that came up in the ASL that were from, whether it was the pre-StarCraft 2 era or during the StarCraft 2 era, being very dominant. But not a lot have managed to last against some of these newer, fresher faces that we've had here. Mini being one of them. But I'll tell you what, if effOrt can win here today, he's probably the favorite to take the whole thing. We do know that Sulky has struggled in ZVZ before. That's always been his weakest matchup.
Yeah, that's quite right. And you know, if Mini were to take this down, it's like, well, his PVZ is on fire right now, but he has to show everything he has against effOrt. You can't be holding anything back against effOrt.
Yeah, and for Mini, it's going to be a tricky journey to become the champion of the ASL in that he has two very dominant Zergs he has to go through. And one thing about Mini, I mean, he's got solid fundamentals, but he's also very much a planner. He comes in with very specific builds, very specific tricks and techniques on certain maps against certain players. And I'm going to be looking for a lot of that here tonight.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. He is definitely the #1 optimizer that Protoss has. Really leads the way in a lot of regards. And, you know, if he has those very special builds like we've seen in the past, I'm just thinking back to some of these crazy builds where, like, everything goes his way, everything is timed perfectly, where he's dodging overlords and, like, running sellouts around. If he has a series like that planned, I think it's going to be hard even for effOrt to deal with that.
I agree. And, you know, effOrt, he's torn down so many great Protosses historically, but Mini is a very different one. And I don't even know how exactly you practice for going up against Mini, because it's never clear what exactly he's going to do. Again, he does have these very standard macro style openings where he'll just go for a push, or you know, or he'll have these moments where he does these insane one-base builds like we've seen before. So this should be a fun one. But effOrt, you know, if he can bring the same kind of quality of play that we saw in the past, he may be unstoppable. This could be one where effOrt just smashes and moves on through, because effOrt really seems to be, in a very scary way, looking like the guy that we saw in the past. And that I could not be more excited about that. It's actually very good for the game when these old players come back. We get a lot of eyeballs, a lot of nostalgia. In the Korea scene especially. And so this is going to be a fun one. We have the hyper-modern, hyper-new Mini. Like, if you've been a fan of just StarCraft 1 for the last couple of years, you might think that Mini is like the king of kings. And he, in some ways, he has been for the last few years. He's really been on top of the race. But effOrt was from, you know, an era like 15 years ago he was #1.
Yeah. I do have to point out, we just saw a stat on the screen that was really interesting. Since ASL has began, and right, he won the pre-ASL tournament and he won 1 ASL over Flash, but since it began, effOrt has only lost 1 best-of-5 or more, and it was against Mini, 2-3. What a crazy stat going in here. Literally, his best-of-5 win rate is better than Flash's by a lot, and the only person that's taking him down is right here, sitting across from him. So this is like a perfect round of 4 match.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And Protosses have been dying out. This has been a rough year for Protosses in the ASL. It would be a really cool story to see Mini advance to the finals. We were worried we might not even have any Protosses in the round of 8, but Mini was the one guy that actually survived that far. He's here in the Final 4. He could be going on to the finals if he can do what he's already done in the past here and take down effOrt.
Yeah. Now, I'm kind of thinking here about what has beaten Mini in the past. Well, actually, it looks like we're ready for the first map here. It's going to be Invader, chosen by Mini. And let's see if he just leaves that side ramp open, Tasteless. But
this is going to be a wall in for Invader.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Here we go, guys. Game #1.
Okay, we've got Mini here in the top left. And we have effOrt now in the bottom right. It's 1-versus-1 map. Quick announcement, guys. The finals is on the 15th. I believe in some of the previous graphics it said the finals is on the 13th, but it is now on the 15th. We actually get schedule changes quite a bit here. At Africa TV, is, you know, they move studio dates around. And, you know, if you just watch StarCraft, there's actually many esports that they do here out of the various studios. So that is on the 15th. If you're you know, planning on coming down to the finals, make sure that you have the right date. It is 2 days later than previously. And so now into this game. We've got the probe coming down the ramp here. He's going to be making a wall in that's hopefully going to be better than the one we saw from Best earlier this season.
Yeah. I have to mention some of the stats that have been popping up at the bottom right. In ASL, Mini has the best PVZ win rate, and effOrt has the best Zerg vs Protoss win rate. So this is literally #1 statistically for both matchups going at it right now, which is amazing. And Mini has played the most Protoss vs Zerg games as well out of everyone, so that's like a super legitimate stat that he has. Wow. Dude, this is like a perfect match. Do you have your notebook and pen out right now, Tasteless?
I mean, I actually have one open on my desk, but I'm not ready to be taking notes just yet. But I do want to point this out right away. This is actually really interesting. He went for overpool into gas.
What does that? What do you think when you see that?
Well, this is basically, it's like 9-pool speed, but later. So you have a little bit more drones. Now, it's not a very common build, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, let's see what Mini wants to do with this.
Well, he goes Nexus first, so he definitely has this planned out. I think that this is definitely showing the types of superpowers that Mini has. You know, it's been mentioned before, he practices more in single player than in multiplayer for these tournament matches, and he just maps everything out, which is why you see him get frustrated if any of his probes don't do what he wants in the early game. But like, he knows the timings perfectly, and he's getting a Nexus first, and I bet you he just stops this flat.
Well, let's find. I mean, this looks really. This doesn't. Well, I mean, if the Lings chase the probe at all, I think he might be okay, but this looks really scary. Like, I was almost stumbling through my words as I was watching this, because I thought, man, that doesn't seem safe. But it doesn't. I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because the Lings did not make a beeline. So, I agree with you. Probably Mini had this mapped out. It has to be pretty perfect, all things considered, because of, you know, the distances that they have right now between each other. But he's going to get the 2 cannons down, the Nexus gets up, and Mini's build is going to put him in a pretty good spot. Now, just because he's alive for now doesn't mean he doesn't have threats he has to deal with. 9-pool speed is pretty scary, especially on a map where there's 2 ramps. By the way, Layer coming up here as well.
Yeah, 9-pool speed into very fast Layer. His natural hatchery had just started. Look at this. He pre-makes a cannon in the main mineral line and starts blocking the second ramp with probes. But right now, effOrt is just spreading his Lings. This is a perfect spread. He's scouting literally the entire map at this moment. He's going to know that everything Mini has is in Mini's base.
Yeah, this is a little trick for anybody that Forge expands when you deal with 9-pool. Is instead of trying to do everything you can to block the ramp, you can make 1 cannon in your main, and a lot of times the Lings will run through only to get to the main where there's already a cannon there, and the entire Ling run by is a waste.
Well, he is going to try that. Look at that. He thinks he's so smart, Tasteless, running by those cannons, but Mini has outthought him here. As he gets up there and sees the cannons, there's not much he can hit. Does that cover even the entire gas?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if it didn't, we would have seen him already start to attack it. Maybe that cannon actually covers both the cybernetics core and the gas.
Well, it's Mini. I bet you that's the case. Like that's the type of player Mini is that he will have everything perfectly covered. And look at this. His Zealots are coming out, not allowing the Lings to even leave. Those Lings are trapped in here with Mini.
Now, we don't have the Stargate. Okay, there it is. 1 Stargate goes down. And the truth is, you know, with a 2-hatch Layer, see, he's even going to run out. This is probably the best he can ask for at this point in time. I already like this game for Mini. His build order worked out at the start. effOrt didn't contest the timing on the cannon, although it looked pretty scary. And this probe is going to come in here and scout and not be denied. And if you scout that second gas, you basically know, okay, this is a Spire, but he's going to get the 100% confirm. He might even make a second Stargate here.
This is pretty wild. This looks so good right now for Mini. Look at this. His supply is literally twice that of effOrt's. He's up in the 40s against 21 supply. It's so drone light. effOrt's trying to be aggressive. 0 things have worked for him. And Mini knows literally everything that's going on. How in the world do you win this as effort?
I mean, it's pretty brutal, right? There's that second Stargate here. Air weapons is coming down. And what he's doing now is he's attacking in here. He's just trying to force out a couple more set of Zerglings or anything like that, because you can pretty much overpower the Zerg if you go for 2 Stargate Corsair with +1 air. I mean, there's a point where you're just going to have enough that there's really not a whole lot they can do.
Yeah.
And it does feel a little bit like efOrt's painted himself into a corner here with the build orders he went for, the tech he chose, the fact that he went for the Ling run by. This is almost so far a perfect game from Mini.
Really, that's exactly what it looks like to me. Even his second cannon in his main mineral line is going to be finishing as those Mutalisks get there. He's got a Corsair at the natural. He's got the double Starport or Stargate in the main base. I think we're actually like going to see GG relatively soon. I can't, like, efOrt's trying to make something happen, but I mean, this seems impossible, honestly, just looking at it like mathematically. Mini, it feels like he's going to overrun effOrt very shortly.
Yeah, one Corsair was killed off. I mean, you know, it is something. Well, you want to get enough Corsairs to where you can just overpower the Mutalisks and even the Scourge. From what I've seen, it seems like around 9 to maybe even 11. Oh my gosh, the Scourge doesn't even connect. About 9 to 11 Corsairs, especially when +1 is done, and it's almost like the Corsair, the Scourge and the Mutas just can't do anything at all.
Well, right now he's got 3. There is some damage on them, but the Mutas have been taking a big hit as well. The 3 Corsairs do stand to fight. effOrt decides to try to kill them, but oh man, it is not going his way. Moving shots coming out of Mini. Those Mutas almost destroyed.
I like the fact that the slow Zealots have been made here. He can always send these back across the map and basically test how committed the Zerg is to going into air attack units versus switching into Hydras. And I think when he saw that fan of Corsairs spread out just outside the natural, he goes, okay, all right, well then we're going to send these back here. Uh-oh, got to keep this Corsair count high.
Oof.
That's how you're going to win the game. I mean, even when we see the Corsairs here and there get killed, Mini should be able to win, but you want to have those last few steps closed off so that you can go into game 2.
Now, is there any way for effOrt realistically here to turn this into like some sort of Hydralisk-based macro game, or does he have to try to pivot to like another all-in? Like, what is the type of game plan you can do here?
Well, you can go for Hydras for sure. The problem is that Mini has basically been preempting this by making Zealots the entire time out of the one gateway. And so it's tough. What efOrt's doing is he's going to switch into Lurker Tech.
Not just Lurker Tech, but a drop there, Tastosis? I like it.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, it could work, but aren't there 2 cannons there? And there's also a wall of buildings?
I think he is going to try to get an angle where he kills 1 cannon and shuts down mining in the main. I think that's the idea. Maybe he can get a Nexus before it gets killed or something like that. I think it's like a reasonable idea considering how far behind he is.
He's going to try to find those Mutalisks. He gets exactly to where they are. There is a wall in here. Look, with the Lurker out and the wall in the way it is, you just can't get in there. So this is effective in one sense. He doesn't... Oh, no, he does find the Overlord here in the very bottom right corner. The Lurkers have been picked up.
Oh, man. I don't think this is going to work, Tastosis. But I do like the idea, because honestly, if you stretch your brain, it's hard to figure out any way in which effOrt could get back into this. But who knows? Maybe there's like some angle he thinks where like if you get rid of a cannon, you kill the Nexus, suddenly it's 2 base versus 1 base. Maybe that starts a comeback. But I think Mini is going to parry this.
It is going to be burrowed by where the Robo is. Oh, man, look at this. There's no cannon there.
Damn, that's actually kind of sick. He's hitting probes at both bases here. He's going to stop gas there. He's stopping most of the mining in the main base. Tasteless.
Oh, this is a little bit scary,
Yeah,
actually.
how bad is this truly for Mini here?
Well, I mean, it's a problem. It's a fire that has to be put out. I'll say that. The fact that, I mean, I didn't even realize the cannon wasn't remade over here. So the issue is that he will have enough resources to make an observer. so he can come out and eventually kill these lurkers off. But this is a lot of lost mining time. Now, that being said, effOrt is at 33 of 19. He's in the negative.
Yeah.
He's so broke. And so when you look at one player and how bad this is going for them, you always got to go back and look at the other side.
Yeah.
I think that Mini's position is very recoverable. He's lost a lot of workers. He's not mining, sure, but the lurker threat's going to be gone. If he can find the Overlord with the Corsairs, then he's just never going to get dropped again, right? So that threat's gone, and he even finds that with the Dragoons.
Mm-hmm. So the drop threat is gone. He is clearing it out as that observer comes up. Obviously the lurkers did kill a lot of workers there. And you see, look at this. He's just like diving on the spore, trying to keep him infinitely supply blocked. And he doesn't get the spore, but it does seem to be working.
So he's killed off the final lurker. There's even going to be another spore made here. So, oh my God, the DT comes in and snipes it. That is sick. The Overlord hatches. The Corsairs can, of course, kill this off, and that allows the DT the freedom to come right back in here and start getting drones. This is such a crazy, what I would, assume is the end of this game here.
Dude, he was attacking his own units and buildings there to try to get the spines onto the DT. Doesn't quite get it, and he will be able to kill it off there as another Overlord did pop. I have to tell you, like, these two are fighting so well, it's mind-boggling. I feel like
it's been a really interesting game.
Yeah, I feel like so many players would have actually lost from Mini's position to that lurker drop, like maybe panicked and things didn't go right. Maybe they hadn't already bought a Robo, something like that. And then, I mean, obviously from effOrt's position, I feel like every Zerg in the world would have already left the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Zerg still on 2 hatches against a Protoss that I think is on 4 or 5 gateways in the main. I mean, yeah, there it is. GG. Kind of a crazy, scrappy game. It's, so impressive to see that build order opening from Mini. The fact that effOrt looked like he had, less than a 5% chance of doing anything there, and then he does that one lurker drop. By the way, kind of a weird time to do a lurker drop.
Yeah.
He had to basically give up on mutas entirely and just find 2 positions, which he did find, by the way, that would perfectly shut down workers mining. But Mini overcame it. Mini had enough of a lead. He closed it out. But definitely a game where, Mini's going to be reminded that effOrt, even backed into a corner, can still be very, very deadly.
The fact that he gave himself like that much damage against Mini after every single thing went wrong that game is very impressive. Whether that was good planning or on the fly, amazingly done by effOrt. But of course, Mini's opener, having the cannon in the main base, somehow sneaking his probe around the speedlings to scout. Everything about the way he played that was just meticulous and perfect.
Yeah, and the double Stargate setup, that's a pretty straightforward hard counter. It's one of the reasons why you got to be very careful if you ever go 2-hatch muta. Guys, short break. When we come back, we're going to go to game number 2 on Retro.
우주급 텐션, 최고의 토킹, 핫식 스토킹.
네, 안녕하세요. 프로토스 변현재입니다. 이걸 하고 싶은데 무언가를 좋아하거나 무언가를 나쁘게 생각하니까 업이랑 다운이지 않을까요? 내가 상대보다 나은 점, 부족한 점. 이거는 그래도 쉬운 것 같아요. 정우 형한테는 제가 심리전이 앞선다라고 생각을 해요. 제가 대회 때 몇 번 만났는데 머리싸움을 제가 이겼거든요.
자, 나와서 여기 짓고 있습니다. 오늘 한짝에 준비해왔어요.
참 김정우 선수 이런 극단적인 전략을 쓸 것이라는 생각은 했을 것 같아요. 하지만 그게 1세트는 아니겠지.
이제 부족한 점은 움직임이 너무 까다로워서 제가 한번 말리면 끝도 없이 말리는 선수라고 생각을 해요. 내 인생에 반환점이 있다면? 반환점은 솔직히 그냥 아프리카 방송을 하고인 것 같아요. 제가 이제 프로게이머가 너무 늦게 되다 보니 프로게이머 생활을 얼마 못하고 이제 스타크래프트 1이 끝났거든요. 그래서 이제 아쉬워하고 이제 군대를 가려고 했는데 이제 아프리카 방송이 있다는 걸 이제 듣고 방송을 시작한 게 제일 좋은 반환점이었던 것 같아요.
전과 후에 제일 큰 차이가 있어요.
일단은 좋아하는 게임을 계속 할 수 있어서 좋은 거고 제일 중요한 건 수입이 많이 버니까 이제 엄청 좋은 거죠. 궁금해서 네. 저에 대한 자랑 한 가지인데 저희 자랑이 없어요. 아, 성실하게 방송을 한다? 그래도 BJ 중에서는 열심히 매일매일 방송을 하고 있는 게 자랑인 것 같아요.
이렇게까지 방송해봤어요.
아, 딱히 그런 건 없어요. 근데 매일매일 킨다는 생각을 가지고 있어요. 아, 키고 아프면 빨리 끈다는 생각을 가지고 있기 때문에 경기 끝나고 찍어주는 카메라인가? 아, 영화구나. 이제 제일 재밌게 본 거는 찐타임? 찐타임이라고 약간 시간으로 이제 만든 영화인데 여자 주인공도 좀 예쁘고 그래가지고 그 당시에 이제 숙소에서 봤나? 아무튼 그랬던 것 같거든요. 그 배우분을 좋아하는 팀원들이 많아가지고 기억에 남아요.
1시간이 남았다. 선생님께.
네.
무엇을 발표해줄까요?
저는 가만히 누워서 죽을 거예요. 굳이 1시간 남았는데 활동을 할 필요는 없더라고요. 그냥 가만히 편하게 있는 게 좋지 않을까요?
MBTI가
ISFP인가? 그럴 거예요. 이게 제 자세거든요. 아니, 제가 게임을 집중할 때 양반다리로 해요. 밸런스 게임.
탄산 빠진 탄산 음료 대 녹아서 액체가 된 아이스크림.
녹아서 된 아이스크림이요. 저 웬만한 아이스크림도 엄청 딱딱하게 된 것보다는 어느 정도 녹아있는 걸 좋아하거든요.
양치하고 레몬 5개 먹기 대 손톱 바짝 자르고 카드 50장 줍기.
제가 손톱을 바짝 자르고 산 적이 없거든요. 저는 레몬으로 선택할 것 같아요.
50% 확률로 1억 받기 대 100% 확률로 3천만 원 받기.
우린 1억을 해야 되지만 전 3천만 원을 선택할 것 같아요. 전 제 기운이 안 좋다고 생각을 하기 때문에 이게 운 좋은 사람들은 무조건 1억을 선택하는데 저도 1억을 선택해야 맞다라고 생각하지만 저는 제 운이 없기 때문에 전 3천만 원 선택할 것 같아요. 2023년이 가기 전에 꼭 하고 싶은 일. 솔직히 저는 뭔가를 하고 싶다는 생각은 없거든요. 그냥 흘러가는 대로 사는데 하고 싶은 일은 단 하나죠. ASL 우승하고 싶은 게 제가 그냥 제일 하고 싶은 일 같아요. 이제 우승을 하면 2023년이 계속해서 기억이 남지 않을까 싶어요. 요즘 제일 많이 하는 말? 습관으로 제가 말을 하고 있기 때문에 기억이 안 나거든요. 옛날에도 제가 인터뷰할 때 어떤 말을 계속 했는데 제가 기억이 안 나요.
이제 오전에 이제 해야지 이제 시작부터 이제 우승으로 이제 계속 잘 풀리는 그리고 이제 해서 이제 처음이거든요. 이제 그래서 이제 쪽으로 이제 손을 푼 적이 처음이라 가지고.
아, 이게 시청자들은 많이 아는데 제가 기억이 안 나요. 이제 새 시즌을 못하고 이번 시즌 이제 또 4강까지 왔는데 빨리 떨어지다 보니 다전제를 못했거든요. 그 부분이 많이 기쁜 것 같아요. 정우 형이 항상 우승 아니면 이제 단판에서 떨어졌기 때문에 제가 다전제를 유일하게 이긴 선수라고 하더라고요. 계속 유일하게 이긴 선수로 남고 싶거든요. 이번에도 형이 이기고 결승 가서 이번에는 내가 우승할게.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Dude, I just want to get into this next game.
Yeah.
These guys are making for some very interesting PVZs. Yeah, dude, I'm just so pumped.
Well, that first game was so masterfully planned, and effOrt really had a brilliant way to try to come back in a game that I couldn't figure anything out in. So, you know, really amazed already by the level of this matchup, and I don't feel like this game in particular, like, forces it to go one way or another, right? Like, Mini won, and he won in a very dominating way, but just the fact that effOrt had all these different amazing ideas, Mini can't possibly have planned for everything, as that lurker drop showed us.
Oh, sure, yeah. And look, there's a lot of different things that Zergs can do in the mid game to try to punish Protoss. I think we see a lot of Hydra busts, and, you know, we didn't have as many Muta rushes in the past as we did, like, you know, today already here with effOrt, but there's a lot of sneaky stuff you can do to try to disrupt a Protoss early on. So I'm going to be watching the early and mid game here a lot to see what these guys have in store for each other. And just to see Mini see that weird build that we saw from effOrt, which was like, it's a 9 pull, but I think you get 1 to 2 more drones. So the Lings are a little bit later, but Mini understood what Zerg was doing so perfectly that he knew he could still go Nexus first. Now, I think most people, even people who are pretty good at Protoss, would look at the initial opening from effOrt, and especially in a pro match, be a little bit too nervous, especially in game 1, to just still go Nexus first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He clearly had that. There are some of these like almost all in, but a little bit dialed back build Zergs can do to make Protosses overreact. I got more to say, but it's too late. We're going to go into game number 2. Mini versus effOrt continues on. The winner going into the finals here of the ASL. Okay, we've got Mini in the top right on this 4-player map. His opponent in the bottom left. Cross spawns here is effOrt. Before we get into our game, guys, we just want to once again, as we do in every one of these VODs, just ask for your support. Patreon.com/ASL English. We would not be able to do this without you guys. The crowdfunding has been amazing. We really appreciate it. It's been our dream to keep the history of StarCraft alive indefinitely. The game's in a great state. We can already see that here with the season and the past few seasons of ASL, a quarter of a century old. So yeah, we really appreciate the support. We hope we can earn it from you guys if we have not already.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody who has been supporting over all this time. And I think that StarCraft 1 is in such a beautiful spot right now. I love the fact that everyone that is playing at the pro level is like also a streamer, so you can watch them and living a life that they have designed as opposed to pro teams have designed. So it's like we never have to lose anybody anymore. People would eventually burn out or get too old or whatever it is and not want to do the pro gamer life anymore back in the Kespa team era. But you look at this and it's like, dude, it's effOrt. He's in the top 4. That's crazy, right? This guy won OSL way back in like 2009. And here he is still playing professionally. I love to see it. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, I want to emphasize something that you said back there as well, because I think there's a little bit of, people having nostalgia for the past about the pro houses, which were cool, by the way.
Yeah.
That was a cool thing that happened. But we're in a different era where now we don't need to have the pro houses. And frankly, no pro player wants to be in a pro house with 15 other guys.
Yeah.
So occasionally I'll meet people in Korea who will claim that, oh, no one's as good as they were, which obviously isn't true if you watch the games. Or that if we really wanted to have good StarCraft, they'd have to go to pro houses. I mean, there's no way. With everybody streaming and building their own communities, even what you and I are doing with our streams, Tastosis, and, getting everybody kind of connected together in an even better digital way, and the players can be financially supported directly as well, is so cool to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, the metagame has evolved so far. The strategies have evolved so far compared to those old days, which I love to see that continued, evolution. Now, taking a look at this game, Mini did go for a blind Nexus first, and went ahead and did about the most efficient scouting he could do with his probe, finds where effOrt is at, and of course his cannon is almost done, so he is going to be completely fine against these few scouting links coming out onto the map.
So we've got another standard expand game here from Mini. effOrt just taking his 3 bases. We got to watch as these drones mine the gas and see, is this going to be any kind of Hydra Den? Could it be the rare Speedling all-in, which, we every once in a while get a game like this where they just try to break down the wall. I think Mini's wall has no surface area where you could really take advantage of that, by the way. But I just want to point that out. Or are we going to have the very standard mainline opening of getting a layer?
I would imagine that we're going to see the layer. It's cross-spawn. This was a Nexus first from Mini, so it doesn't feel like you're going to be... Oh, never mind.
Oh, there it is. There
3-hatch Hydra. All right. Never mind, Tastosis. That was silly of me to think we wouldn't have a 3-hatch Hydra play right away.
Yeah, 3-hatch Hydra in cross-spawns. The probe probably won't be able to get in the main with effOrt's control.
Well,
but,
yeah, well, he definitely needs to stop. He is leaving those 3 lings, and 3 lings are, like, you can very easily stop the probe from going up the ramp. Zealot is coming out right now, and very, very quick Citadel. The Citadel before the Stargate there for Mini.
Yeah, there's a couple different timings you can have. I think the one that everybody's used to seeing is the Stargate first and then the Citadel. The Citadel coming out gives you the ability to have charge lots a little bit quicker, which is nice. And then the, you know, obviously you're going to be scouting a little bit later with that Corsair. And the way this is lining up, I mean, I don't think the probe is going to see any Hydras in time here. And to stop a Hydra rush, you do need to have something to sound the alarms a little bit earlier.
Well, he's adding a second gateway very quickly, as well as that Templar Archives. So, you know, those are some tools that can help him out. Now, there are 2 Overlords that are near that base, and that's definitely something effort's setting up on purpose. He has the one that is kind of above the gas area, and then a second one that is a little bit further out. You know, it's likely that the Corsair can find the one that's right over the main base, but the other one, I'm not sure. Like, so even though he's getting that quick Templar Archives, maybe he can make a DT to help defend.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. There is the one Overlord just below this. But if you kill the one Overlord with the Corsairs, actually there's 2 Overlords, I'm sorry, down here. How quickly can he get rid of these 2, though, as the Hydras are going to come up?
Well, with the Zealots coming out, and the other Overlord is kind of going towards the vision of him, I think he's going to be able to get both of them, if I'm not mistaken here, Tastosis. I think this was a bit of a misplay from effOrt. Like I was saying, that was far off in a way where it felt like he would have that hidden. But here it is. He's going to be able to take it down, which means the DT can shut down the entire Hydra rush.
This is weird because I feel like this game is so poor here from effOrt this time around. There's 2 DTs out on the map. This means the Hydra rush has to completely stop.
That's terrible for
no
effOrt.
longer
Oh my God.
rush. This is one of the biggest Hydra rush shutdowns we've ever had in ASL. I mean, think of how close most games when a Hydra rush starts are. And this is one where there's 2 DTs on the map. The Corsairs can continue to roam. I think effOrt should be fine. It's not like the Hydras, the Dark Templars can just run in and kill drones or anything. He can defend. By the way, he's made up to 4 DTs.
I've seen this from Mini before. DTs,
Yeah.
Tasteless. You think they're cloaked units? No. They're fighting units. Okay, he's going to walk up that ramp with 4 DTs and 3 Zealots and then have the 3 Corsairs flying around. He's going to walk up and kill everything easily.
Yeah, this is one of these funny moments where the Zerg a lot of times wants to try to snipe the Corsairs in the fight, but DTs can take out Hydras extremely fast. Now, it looks like there's enough that Mini decided to think twice, but if that was a position where there were just 3 Hydralisks, he could just overpower them right there. Now, we have a lot more gates coming down. We had 2 in the natural, and then I think was it 6 up in the main?
Well, yeah, I think you're right about that. Like, he's got up to his gateway count very, very quickly. The Corsair is still flying around, trying to scout exactly what's going on, getting harassment as they can. Plenty of High Templars already out there. A little bit of harassment here from effOrt pressuring the wall. I mean, it would be nice if he can do something like get the Forge. But, again, it does feel like Mini just kind of has an answer for everything right now.
Looks like effOrt's going to go for this Forge. So +1 attack never finishes. That's pretty big. But, I mean, with 8 gates total, I wouldn't even be surprised if probes are being cut here. Is it not possible that Mini just overpowers this?
Yeah. Like, I can see that totally. It seems like, you know, effOrt, his macro maybe didn't hit where he wanted. He couldn't really force that many cannons. Mini was already so quick on getting, you know, the High Templar tech out. So he's going to have plenty of storms to start here. You know, effOrt's trying to macro up. He is making the Spire, so there is a world in which he can make a group of mutas and maybe pick off these High Templars.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's not a lurker game so far. And maybe Mini has steered this game in the wrong direction. I mean, when you see 3 Corsairs and only 3 Corsairs, that means the Protoss thinks he's still dealing with Hydralisks. Nice Storm. I almost hope that for Mini's sake he gets another Storm off so he can make an Archon so he can fight these mutas if that's what's coming.
Well, right now the Hydra is trying to run forward to pick off some of these High Templars. A Storm goes down, another Storm goes down. Some good micro here from effOrt, but Mini just running around with his High Templars will end up saving all but one, but he did have to use multiple storms. So can he still break this ramp?
Oh, this is getting pretty rough. He's so far from home now. We see one Mutalisk has hatched. If he gets a couple more over here, he could kill all the Templars and just completely drive this home. It's not easy for the Zealots to actually get up the ramp, by the way. You know, with the Hydralisks over here. It looks like he finally manages to do so, but here we can see the Mutalisks are already out. He's going to try to snipe those Templars. He does not deny the Archon. Another Archon is about to finish morphing here. The DTs run through. Oh my God.
Dude, he has...
Could he get into the main?
Yeah, he slips one DT up towards that main base, leaves one at the natural to go after drones. Some good micro there from effOrt, though. But the Archons have finished, and now the drones have to run from this third base. An absolutely crazy mid-game going on right now.
I think he might have just broken him. I mean, 6 o'clock is lost. Am I wrong?
I think you're just about right, but there are a lot of mutas here. He can kill all the Zealots with those mutas, and if you kill all those, though, are you going to be okay? He killed both the Archons.
Oh, okay. No, there's...
Oh,
I think that
never
one,
mind,
that
was
the one that got pulled up over there. Yeah, I think it ended up chasing a Hydra down there. Now, he can kill this Spire.
No, he can't. No, he can't.
No, I can't say that.
Yeah, and the Archon got picked off so
like
quickly.
It's a rhythm game. I'm trying to call it as it dies, and it's not going to happen.
You're not getting any perfects today, Tasteless. No, he can't. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
How many hit points does Zilla have? He can't.
Okay, so
well,
where are we at right now after all that craziness? I'm asking honestly, like where exactly are we at in this game? Because it seems to me like effOrt defended well enough. If I'm looking at this drone count correctly, he's got a pretty insane amount of drones right now.
He has a decent amount of drones. I think that Protoss can attack in again here. We need to see what the Mutalisks can snipe. That's the big question. We don't have a Dark Archon. Not that you have to get one, but there's no like direct hard counter to the mutas. Corsairs can hard counter Mutalisks, but you need to get enough of them. And in a game like this, you only have one Stargate. So it's not a thing where you can very easily get that number of Corsairs to address the Mutalisks in time. You can see there's one Muta that's coming through to scout. He's also trying to figure out, okay, did you maybe make 2 Stargates? Is there any other switch-ups that I need to be ready for?
Well, he does have those...
basically... he's running interference here with these Dragoons to try to basically give the Templars cover. We have seen games where players will put the 4 Templars in a shuttle to basically make it harder for the mutas to actually get the hits off. But that's not one of those games right now.
Well, effOrt really diving hard on these High Templars. A couple storms come out, and he kills 3 of the 4. So pretty good sniping there from effOrt overall. I think that Mini has to be really careful with this army. You know, once you lose your Zealots and High Templar storms, Dragoons don't beat much, but there's not much here.
Yeah, he's going to break down the Evo chamber. And you're 100% right, Artosis. Like, it's, you know, Dragoons are okay against Zerg stuff, but, you know, they're not really the ideal response. He loses the Templar. There's more reinforcements coming down, but there's also lurkers burrowing here. He gets 2 Zealots in the main. That could cause a lot of damage. We're going to have to keep our eye on that.
Another Zealot going after that Spire, perhaps, over here. A lurker on the ramp will force Mini back. He's going to need to get those observers. But you know what? He's taking his 3rd base during all of this. He definitely has the tempo on his side. Like, effOrt has staved off defeat with those lurkers. But it feels like Mini is starting to pull pretty far ahead with his map control.
Yeah, he really is. You know, the one saving grace that effOrt has is that the ramp here at the 3rd, it's a pretty manageable front. Like, you can morph a lurker here and just kind of clog that up so that the Zealots and Dragoons can't get in there. But, you know, where is the Zerg's 4th base? We know that this is a map by design. There's not a lot of places for either race to expand to. And it doesn't seem like either location's going to be easy to take. I guess 9 o'clock is probably the only place realistically effOrt could try to seize. But Mini's just going to wedge himself in between the natural base and the 3rd base and probably start trying to get value out of here.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he has to do. Well, actually, effOrt runs up and goes for some Templar snipes. It actually goes pretty well. Great storm here, though. And I think this is like one of the moments that are very important in this game for Mini, because that place that effOrt's setting up, we've seen that before. When that's perfectly set up, Protoss can't really break there.
Well, he's going to try to break through anyways. The only way to stop this would be to kill the Observer, and I think there's just not... Yeah, it's not in the cards right now for effOrt. He is going to have his Sunken Colony busted down. The Lurkers have been pulled away. Whenever you see Lurkers coming in here from behind, you have to remember that there's probably another position you could attack at the third base later on that's not going to be defended. You're relocating defense. But right now, effOrt is, I think, going to hold this.
Well, he's killing a lot of these Hydras as they're coming out. It looks like everything in the natural has been killed off. effOrt trying so hard to make a new defensive position. I think Mini is, like, the fact that he broke that little area, that's like the best defensive spot for Zerg on this map. And breaking that, I think that it's just a matter of time now.
Yeah, it does seem like things are starting to crumble over here. But, you know, we keep seeing these attacks from the Protoss that are ending with just a couple units here. I guess it is at least preventing expansions from growing out here into other locations. The Zerg is pretty preoccupied. You can see the Zealots are continuing to streamline down, but every time it seems like it's close, effOrt barely hangs on. And you can see even now, Mini has to pull away.
Yeah, well, you know, Mini is losing like basically his whole army on all of these attacks, so that is something to say. But he's got 3 bases, he's got 3 gas. It feels like he can refill with whatever he would like in here. Whereas I don't feel like effOrt's making any progress. You know, like he's holding the attacks, but I don't feel like he's like, oh, my army's better this time, and I'm going to hold it better next time, you know?
Yeah, this, by the way, is what I was talking about earlier, that, you know, those Lurkers that came up there to defend. Now there's a weak point up here that can be exploited. He can just get down here. I think we're going to get closure on that Spire, Artosis.
Oh, finally. I don't know how much that matters compared to earlier in the game, whether he was going to plan on making more Mutalisks, but it does end up going down, so that's one thing that Mini does not have to worry about. And effOrt, once again, will end up holding the attack. This is one of the most crazy back and forth. Like, I've never seen a Protoss attack this many times. It seemed like he's about to break everything and then lose his army this many times.
It's kind of crazy, but it's definitely keeping effOrt on his back foot. He still has quite a bit of drones at all of his bases. He's in okay health in that regard, but the Zerg needs to grow. That's the scary thing. You know, the Protoss can basically trade out over and over and over again. But until the Zerg starts to get another natural, which Zerg doesn't have, it's going to be an issue. And is he going to set up for a Lurker contain? Look at this push out here.
Oh, well, he's actually sending some units as well to that 3 o'clock base. I mean, if he killed that, that would be huge. But a very small group engaging the main army while he tries to break through here. There are some Zealots and Cannons, so making it a little bit hard on him. Mini getting stuck behind his own High Templar there, trying to get forward. And Lurker Egg on the ramp. Beautiful move. Going to spread these Lurkers out as well. Oh my god. effOrt doing an amazing little comeback attack here.
You can see Mini lurch forward in his chair for a second. He's like, wait a minute, I'm actually in a lot of trouble here. His natural's about to mine out. So instead of him going up to 4 bases, he's going to take the probes that were at his natural that's drying up and just swap that out for the 3rd that's been lost over here. This is a funny thing about Retro, is the little body of water that's outside your entrance that's close to where your 3rd base is. It creates this pretty big circle that you can't move through.
Yeah.
That allows for these weird counterattacks to happen. Like, Mini could have stopped that, but he was on the wrong side and then couldn't get up there, and then the Lurker just plugged up, the Lurker Egg plugged up the ramp, no problem.
Yeah, that was a big pain for him, and losing that 3rd base location is incredibly painful. Luckily for him, he was already setting up 12 o'clock, so he is going to have that mining base. But he was looking to have 2 mining bases, right? Because his natural is empty, his main is almost empty here as well. And that's where it can start to get a little bit scary. But at the same time, he's kept effOrt down on 3 bases. So effOrt's economy is weak as well. But look at the supplies. When I see Zerg supply that close to Protoss, I get nervous for Protoss.
Sure. And we're about to see the same tactic employed over here, where the army that Protoss has that can beat this is going to be down here below this, but there's enough lurkers and hydras. He might just be able to run up there and take this out too.
Well,
Again,
yeah,
Zerg doesn't have a fourth yet.
He's definitely prepping for that, and there are some High Templars up there to defend for Mini. A nice little snipe there. Yeah, I don't know about this. Like, with the storms and how close the army is, I don't think he can really break 12 o'clock. I think he's got to just let the idea of breaking 12 o'clock go, or he's going to get, like, totally smashed going up that ramp.
He's going to come down now. Mini is. And we're going to have an engage over here. There's a lot of Hydras out here. I'm not clear on how many Templars there are. It looks like there's about 4, but there's one that's gone stray. One Templar going rogue. I think he managed to grab that and pull that back in with the group.
The DT a little bit indecisive there. Will get popped. effOrt taking bottom right, and Mini instantly has a Zealot going down there. So very good star sense from him. He knows there has to be another base on the way. And coming in to flank this army, I like this move. He's going to kill a lot of effort supply without losing too much.
Yeah, I think he's realizing that he can just box this position in here and punish. That's a lot of Hydras killed off.
Yeah.
Now, he did spot that base at the very bottom right with his Zealot. It does seem like it's not going to be an easy game for the Zerg to turtle in the multiple spots that Zerg has. It's not easy to traffic units in between these areas. And he's actually going to come in here and sandwich this army from behind too. And I think effOrt's starting to realize, like, you know, when you get this size of a Protoss army, you could actually just melt the Hydras. The Hydras are suddenly obsolete. You know, 1 or 2 storms, even if they're not connecting on everything, the fact that it makes the Hydralists relocate while the Dragoons are firing, while the Zealots are chasing them down, while the Archons are more from the storms, and the Protoss gets an even healthier army, just like we're seeing through all of this. I mean, you know, this is victory after victory after victory.
And, you know, it seems like we actually have Mini starting to break through absolutely everything. As you said, those Hydras are starting to melt. He's still got a good amount of Psi Storms. He's had those additional gases for a long time. And despite effort, like, fighting back brilliantly, it feels like he's at the very end of this game now. Every Hydra is being stormed. Very few units left. His supply plummeting. I think that Mini is going to finally break him here.
Yeah, there it is, GG. Look, I mean, it's another victory. In some ways, it's kind of similar to Game 1 in that Mini has the edge, and then effOrt gets very creative and finds this opportunity. I think he's the only one in the whole world that could find. But Mini fights back. He closes it out. You saw Mini shaking his head there a few seconds ago. I think he knows, like, whoa, I almost lost that one.
Yeah.
He was steadily ahead and in control, but you know, never let your guard down versus, effOrt. He'll always come up here with some trick up his sleeve to get ahead.
Yeah, he fought back brilliantly once again. It feels like Mini is having these game plans that are so solid, and then effOrt is kind of fighting from a hard position and making it super close and super interesting. That was a great game. I really enjoyed that one. But Mini is up 2-0 right now, and it seems like all of his builds are working.
Seems like everything's working here for Mini. By the way, what a crazy maneuver he did there. When the Zealots and the Hydras came, the Zealots came down, engaged with the Hydras, the Storms came in, and then the DTs ran into the main. Like, he really sees the weaknesses that Zerg have. I'm worried for effOrt right now. I'm not saying he can't come back, but man, Mini is looking so strong.
Yeah, and being up 2-0, he's going to be extremely happy about that. He's not going to be flustered like he gets sometimes when the series starts getting away from him. It's going to be a tough comeback road here for effOrt, but I would say definitely doable with the way he's playing.
Short break, guys. We'll be right back with map number 3 on Apocalypse.
우주급 텐션, 최고의 토킹, 핫식스 토킹.
안녕하세요. 이번에 오랜만에 ASL 참가해서 자랑 진출한 김종훈입니다. 결혼 이후에 첫 ASL 참가한 건데 트로피 아니면 하트 먼저. ASL 시즌 16을 시작할 때와 현재 마음가짐의 변화가 있다면 시작할 때는 정말 오랜만이니까 뭐 예선만 뚫고 본선까지만 해도 잘한 거다라는 생각이었는데 막상 이렇게 24강, 16강, 8강까지 이기고 4강까지 올라오니까는 조금 욕심이 생긴 것 같아요. 근데 욕심이 없어서 올라온 것 같아서 욕심을 다시 버려야 될 것 같습니다.
라이트하게 말씀을 많이 하셨는데
가볍게 또 참가해보라고 또 라이트하게만 봐주시면은
이제 더 이상 라이트하게 안 봐도 될 것 같아요. 김정우 선수 어때요?
아니 이거 라이트하게 봐주시고요.
이제는 결승까지 한 명밖에 안 남았으니까요. 단 4명밖에 안 남아있어서 조금 욕심이 나는 것 같고 다들 뭐 우승 후보 할 때 솔직히 저는 속으로 아니라고 했고 그냥 그전 해봤으니까라는 생각이 있었는데
취재 불사조 김정우 선수의 4강 진출.
오늘 또 이긴 거 보니까 또 나름 잘하는 것 같기도 하고 우승을 얼마나 하고 싶은가 약간 이런 질문일 것 같아요. 생각은 안 해봤는데 어제 4강 올라가고 나서 한 인터뷰도 좀 괘씸해서
어떤 선수와 만나는 게 변현재 선수는 좀 더 좋을까요?
두 선수 다 자신은 있거든요. 누굴 만나든 크게 상관은 없는 것 같아요.
혼내주고 올라가도록 하겠습니다.
정원님이 다전제에서 딱 한 번 현대님 말씀하셨잖아요.
제가 다전제를 유일하게 이긴 선수라고 하더라고요. 계속 유일하게 이긴 선수로 남고 싶거든요.
유일한 사람이었지만 결국 변현재도 못 이긴다로 이제 정정해주고 싶네요. 무엇이라 미치게 하는지. 네, 요즘 최대 관심사 그래도 제가 가장 많이 생각하는 건 이제 제 와이프. 서로 결혼하기로 이제 얘기를 나눈 후에 제가 먼저 프로포즈를 했었고 제 몰래 깜짝 서프라이즈로 이렇게 준비를 했더라고요. 그 프로포즈에 깔린 노래가 이제 제 와이프가 직접 부른 노래인데 친구 만나러 가는 척하고 몰래 녹음하고 막 오고 그랬더라고요. 그래서 그때 당시에 너무 밖으로 나돌길래 서운해 있었는데 너무 감동받았었고 평생 잊지 못할 이제 기억이 된 것 같아요. 최근 새롭게 알게 된 신주원은 원래 20대 때는 제가 잘 기억했었는데 지금 까먹었어요. 뭐 있나요? 예.
부를 때 힘들어 불러오니까.
그런 게 생겼어요 요즘에? 이거는 처음 듣는. 700이요?
700 있을 것 같아요. 엄청 700 하세요.
와 이거 제가 700 하다고요? 힌트 좀.
어떤 단어의 초성이에요.
귀여워? 귀여워. 너무 집에만 있어. 상대 선수 플레이의 장점은 저그전, 단점은 파란전인데 운이 좋아요 얘가. 테란 만나서 혼났어야 되는데 또 지금 저 만나가지고 일단 운은 좋은데 저도 이를 이제 알고 있었거든요. 다전제 만나면 이 친구한테 맞았어요. 갚아줄 게 있는 선수라
갚아줄 게 있다.
잘 된 것 같아요. 이게 확실히 좋았어요. 가장 이게 어떻게 가장 좋아하는 스타크래프트 유닛은 저글링이에요. 유닛 중에 제일 잘 쓰는 유닛이 저글링이라서 저글링을 좋아합니다.
뺏고 싶은 유닛 하나랑 진짜 사라졌으면 좋겠는 유닛 하나.
둘 다 테란인데 일단 벌처를 가져오고 싶어요. 이게 말이 안 돼요. 속도가 시속 800km예요. 방금 이제 상대 앞마당에서 봤는데 이제 한 3초 뒤에 지 본진 와 있고 없앴으면 좋은 유닛은 사이언스 뱃을 그냥 날아다니면서 지들 몸에 걸어서 지우기도 하고 막 저그 유닛 웬만한 거 다 원콤에 보내버려가지고 유닛 없애버리고. 나에 대한 자랑 한 가지. 일단 결혼 너무 잘한 것 같아요. 와이프 너무 잘 만난 것 같아서 팬분들도 이제 저한테는 최근 뭐 답변해라 이러는데 너무 내조도 항상 잘해줘서 너무 제가 자랑하고 싶은 사실 꼽는다는 와이프. 욕심은 나지만 욕심은 최대한 버리고 또 라이트하게 또 준비해보겠습니다. 준비해라. 그 준비.
And we're back. Guys, this has been a crazy series. I'm really wondering if we can get a game where effOrt can actually get like a real positional advantage as we get into mid-game. Because right now it's really Mini executing everything perfectly. In fact, let's not forget in Game 2, that Hydra Rush completely backfired. And that's really where Mini started to create opportunities. But we need to see effOrt actually get into a position where this is a lot more doable, because otherwise it seems like Mini just closes it out.
No, it was pretty damn impressive, honestly. It feels like it's been a battle of openers, and Minis are just better. They're a bit more thought out than effOrt's, or better planned against what effOrt is trying to do. But effOrt is playing like really well from these hard positions. So I feel like if effOrt can get an opening advantage, it's going to be really hard for Mini to fight back, considering how well effOrt's playing even from behind.
Yeah, by the way, this on screen here, it's just a reminder, guys. Season 16 finals is on the 15th now. So you can get tickets in time. Definitely check it out. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with us in the VOD.
Well, that is going to be an amazing finals. Whoever ends up making it right now, Mini leads 2-0, but it's a best of 7. There's plenty of room here for effOrt to stage his comeback, especially considering how well he's been playing. You can see how packed the studio is. Everyone showing up to watch the best Protoss go up against one of the most legendary players of all time in effOrt.
Mini, he's halfway there. Can he get that 3-0? Can he take it to the point where it's almost possible to recover from? effOrt knows how difficult this is going to be. He's done some very... Look, I'm going to be critical here for a second. I think questionable builds. He was unable to get any lead with that altered speed Ling Rush. A little bit more economical speed Ling Rush. He also fell for the bait by running into the main. That's not like the most advanced thing ever to hide a cannon in your main like that. And then a Hydra Rush cross spawns that was scouted and shut down. I wonder, is effOrt going to keep trying to lean into aggression, or is he going to try to dial it back into some more passive macro play? We're going to find out now. Map 3, Apocalypse. Let's do this. Okay, we've got Mini here at 12 o'clock. And effOrt here just in the bottom left. I'm not going to even attempt to give the clock time for that. You know you know where he is.
Yeah. You asked the question, is effOrt going to continue with these more aggressive openers, or is he going to dial it back, maybe play more of a macro game? I think that effOrt's strength is in how decisive he is, how good his micro is, his aggression in a lot of ways. So I think he will remain somewhat aggressive, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad way to play against Mini, because Mini does get a little bit greedy, right? He's trying to cut literally every single corner that you can. So I feel like it's still a decent plan for effOrt. It's just the ones that he's chosen, like the fact that he went 9 pool speed and Mini's like, I'm just making a cannon in the main, It just really, it ruined his plans. And that has happened to him a few times, but I don't think it can happen every time. And here he is. He's going for a 9 pool.
Yeah. Not over pool into a gas, but straight up 9 pool. Now, will this be a 9 pool with gas? You don't have to get gas with it. Let's just confirm it's not an extractor trick. It looks like it is a commitment here.
Oh. What do you think when you see a 9 pool gas? Like, is this something that you're setting up specifically for a Ling run pie or a Ling bust, or is this more looking towards maybe setting up, like killing the probe scout and making it really unknown to Protoss? Like, is he going 3H Hydra? Is he going layer? What's going on?
It can be both. It can be an either or.
Okay.
So it does force the Protoss to address the situation immediately. And this is going to be scouted a little bit, I guess, well, in this case, as late as possibly could be. But when you see this, you need to plug up the entrance with a Forge. Gateway first is actually a little bit brittle when having to deal with 9 pool speed Ling. It's a little bit scary. Gateway first can deal with pretty much anything, and it can deal with 9 speed, but when you see this, you need to be responding perfectly. So I'm very interested in seeing how exactly Mini's going to handle this. You see he right away pulled back the rallied Zealot. It can be hard to keep the entrance sealed up. Sometimes the Lings can get there right before the Zealot comes out. I do like him hiding the probe down here. You do want to try to run in and figure out what's going on. Is this other Zealot going to come out in time?
Is that?
We need to look.
Yeah,
at,
yeah. It looks like he gets out just in time there, and he starts working on the Zealot and the Gateway a little bit. The secondary probe going to back up and make a photon cannon. It feels like Mini's defense is going to be perfect here, right? Like I don't think you can quite get the Gateway, and he should. I mean, when the cannon's finished, it's basically held.
Yeah, that's right. And then you just gotta be careful.
Ooh, it's only one. It's only one.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be okay.
Yeah. I mean, if it's any more than that, you get a little bit scared, I think. But yeah, he's putting some damage onto that Gateway, and it does seem like Mini should be okay.
Yeah. Well, hold on a second. Can he just barely break this down? This is the problem, is that if the Lings get through, well, then you're going to have to be defending, well, you know, those probes from the Zerglings. I don't think he can kill that Overlord in time either.
Was that Overlord purposefully in range, by the way, or was that just a mistake? Like, does that eat up a shot that might kill a Ling or something like that? Or
no, the Zerglings always get prioritized.
Yeah, I would figure. So just a little mistake from him, I guess.
I think so. Well, I mean, he might have also been looking to see, okay, is there, you know, is there something else back here that could, you know, help out? I didn't see the angle that it was in, but he might have been checking for a cannon in the main earlier. I wasn't really following where that Overlord was, but let's not forget what happened in game 1. Now the cannon's going to be forced in over here. Eventually, we're going to get a shot of the Zerg's main base, which I really want to see. Is this, you know, okay, so there's no gas mining. He might even make a 4th hatchery. This is, I think, a really smart way to play as Zerg, is you just go back. Oh, you know what?
Oh.
He might actually just double up the all-in. So when here's what's going to happen. When the Gateway is this low, sometimes you can just run up and pop it. But Mini's been making a lot of Zealots. Yeah, he's just all in.
This is so many Zerglings right now. It's only one cannon. I could see him maybe breaking this because of how low that Gateway is.
Yeah, but there's so many Zealots here, and there's a cannon in the main, so the run-by doesn't work the same way.
You have to actually overwhelm, right? Like, you have to actually kill the natural.
Yeah, you would at least need to kill the cannon and create enough instability here. You know, it's always worth it, I think, in a game like this where you're probably going to win, to just have one probe ready to make anything when that Gateway is destroyed. Like a forge or you know, you could even make a forge to hold, then you cancel the forge and remake the Gateway. Bring that Gateway back to where it was before. So what he's doing is he's making it look like he doesn't have a lot. He's running away, and then he's going to come in here to overwhell this.
Okay, here come the Speedlings now. Oh, God, he's only engaging with a tiny amount there. Maybe a little bit of an error, but he is counterattacking with another group of Lings with double cannon there. Oh, no, everything's going wrong for effOrt here.
Yeah, effOrt, I don't know what to say. It's like the control group wasn't bound or something. He had a group of Lings that just weren't there. He wants to try to counterattack. But, you know, here are the probes that I was talking about. They're ready to defend. And Mini's going to be just running all the way back here into the main.
Oh, he is going to have to go ahead and kill that Gateway off. And I think he has, like, enough to maybe kill the Zealots, but not the cannons plus probes. Not even that. Oh, man, one of the Zealots lives.
Over.
GG. Oh, the attempted all-in failing there from effOrt. That was... The other two games, like effOrt lost and was aggressive, but I felt like he really put in, you know, some good ideas and some good execution and made it close. Here, this seems like he bungled it.
Yeah, well, I can't remember if I mentioned it in that game early on or the game before, but every once in a while you will have a Ling all in, you know, where they just try to tear down the entrance and come in there and win the game. And it's really just down to if the Protoss can control well enough or not. Well, look, Mini handles that, and it feels like effort. The position's just getting worse and worse and worse. He's not able to do any kind of macro games. Again, he doesn't have to, but it doesn't seem like anything aggressive is working versus Mini. It seems to go right into his favor. I don't know, man. This could be a 4-0. This could very well be a 4-0 Artosis.
Yeah, there's a real possibility there. I'm a little bit sad that went so poorly for effort. I feel like if he takes Apocalypse there after the first 2 games, breaks him with that Speedling all-in, then we suddenly have ourselves like a real serious series. But this is going to be a long road for effort to come back now. To 4-0 Mini in this matchup seems impossible. And that guy, like, for future reference, don't shake your sign like that. No one in the world can read that. Oh, my God.
No one can read it. No one can read your sign. You spent all that time making the sign. He shakes it a little bit. That's okay.
I can read that.
Well, this is just not the series I thought we were going to get, Artosis. How about you?
No, well, I mean, I said earlier that I thought that effort was going to win this tournament. But right now, if he wins this tournament, it is the greatest story ever told, okay? It's like greater than like Noah's Ark, it's greater than any Shakespeare play. It'll be amazing. If he comes back 4-0 from here against Mini and then wins ASL, damn, how crazy would that be? Well, we are going to be going into the next game here, set number 4 on Polypoid. And, let's see if effort can start that comeback.
All right, guys, we're ready to go. Good luck, effort. You're going to need it. Otherwise, Mini's taking this 4-0. All right, we've got Mini up here in the top left. We've got effort in the top right. Sorry, Artosis.
Oh, that's all right. And Tastosis, Polypoid, how does Mini finish effort off if that's what's going to happen? How does he go about doing that?
Well, if it's like the other games, he just stops whatever kind of rudimentary rush that effort wants to try out. I will say, and look, I know this isn't over yet, but it does feel a little bit like that, not just with the score itself, but with the way the games have looked. Effort hasn't shown the kind of range that Sulky did in his series.
Yeah.
In that, it seems like he just has a couple of aggro builds to try to get some control of the game, and clearly Mini is fine with playing that game, and a lot of Protosses aren't. A lot of Protosses fall apart to aggression pretty often, but in this game, by the way, double probes. This should be a Forge first opening, I think.
Yeah, of course, I would say so, right? If you're going to scout with those double probes, it generally is that Forge, and it is a pool first from effort, so no chance of anything like a cannon rush here. Looks like that's an overpool, right? So more of a defensive opener from effort.
But yeah, I mean, to answer your question from earlier, Artosis, I mean, I think if effort's going to be aggressive again, it's going to have to work because Mini's making this look easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see a little bit more of a normal opening here from effort, something that can get him into a game that I think is going to be less about watching how amazingly he can recover from an all-in, but instead just showing us a healthy mid-game and late-game ZVP.
Well, the overpool I always think of as kind of like a more defensive opener. You don't really generally see them make a bunch of links and go across the map or anything. So maybe that's the thought process from effort here, right? Is that like, okay, well let's back it up a little bit. By the way, he acted like he was going to take his hatchery at a different pace, and now Mini really, I mean, he slowed down that natural expansion for a long time there. That has to be frustrating as effort.
He had the option, too, to maybe throw the pylon down when he saw the drone heading back, the one that he had initially sent out to go to another base. Because that's when the Zerg ends up with, like, 500, 600 minerals banked up with nowhere to put the buildings down they need to. He does see that it's going to be an extractor on 2 bays. Now, when you're playing as Protoss and you see the extractor that early, it should raise eyebrows. A lot of times, more normal overpool play is to just get the 3rd hatchery, and then you get the extractor. So is this going to be some more aggression here? Or is this just a red herring in the build and he'll have a 3rd hatchery and he's trying to create a situation where maybe Mini will overreact himself?
Yeah, that could be the case. Looking at this, though, Mini is so dialed in. I feel like it's going to be hard to pass one on him. Ooh, 3rd hatch in the main. What do you think about that? That's a very uncommon move.
Okay, so I think I'm onto something with this. Let's keep in mind that he showed the 2nd extractor. He doesn't have as many drones on the extractor now. So he's getting a layer a little bit later. But he has this ramp covered, and the probe doesn't see a 3rd hatchery anywhere else. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So it looks like it's probably a 2-hatch layer. Now, the truth is it's 3-hatch layer. It's not the craziest different thing. But, 2-hatch layer where you're trying to rush into mutas is a very different game. And we don't know what kind of layer tech this is going to be. It could still be Spire tech anyways, but let's try to watch this carefully because it seems like effOrt's trying to create a situation where there's some ambiguity, but the Protoss would most likely assume this is a real quick muta rush. And we see that den going down here.
So maybe he's trying to force like a double Stargate play or something off of Mini, right? And with the Hydralisk den going down, find some sort of like timing attack with 3-hatch Hydra. I like it. I like the idea here from effOrt to try to get Mini to react in the wrong way. But will Mini do that?
He's not mining gas. Oh.
Okay, now he is.
That's really late.
That does seem bad, doesn't it? Was that just a mistake?
He got 2 gates in his natural. We've actually been watching effOrt's perspective for so long. This is going to sound weird, but the person I saw mess with this the most was Flash when he played Protoss.
Oh, wow.
But he would do 2-gate after he expanded. It's like a delayed Zealot rush where you have just a little bit more, and you can force a scout with this.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Look at this. A lot of Zerglings have to be hatching. He's going to have to fight with drones a bit as well. Dude, these Zealots are doing a fantastic job right now. I'm loving this play here from Mini.
Yeah, I mean, this is really smart. And, the drones are coming out. And basically, this is kind of just going to force effOrt to show what he's got. Keep in mind, most of the time when you see these pressure builds, it's actually a 1-gate, right? So the Zerg is used to the tempo of how many Zealots can be out. When you do it with 2 gates, it's like kind of weird. Now, he needs to scout this, man. Get those Zealots in there. Get at least 1 in there.
Well, he's forced so many Zerglings. That in and of itself feels pretty good, but he will right-click up with that 1 Zealot. Gonna sacrifice it to get a scout that this is a 3-hatch layer with Hydralisk Den. A ton of Zerglings are out here right now, but I feel like Mini found out what he needed to find out, and he's not going to overreact.
Oh, man, and so that's the answer. I was waiting to see what Mini's going to do. So he gets a Robo. He doesn't get a Stargate. He doesn't get a Citadel. He says, oh, okay, well, that's probably going to be Lurkers. And in order to beat Lurkers, you just need detection. Oh, my God, and the double Zealot run by Artosis.
Oh, I love this.
Mini is so good.
This is bad news for effOrt, especially considering there's 4 cannons at the front. He's getting a Robo. He already has Dragoons, and now he's harassing and knows 100% it's Lurkers. Dude, effOrt is on his last legs here. I don't know how he's going to make this game work.
Yeah, well, the Lurkers are inbound. Let's see if they can bust down the cannons. The idea with the strategy that the Zerg is going for is that there's just so much damage at the entrance, and the Protoss is walled in, and so sometimes you can't reach the Lurkers on the other side of your wall in, and you just obliterate the front. Now, he's got Dragoons patrolling, or he had them over there, in the main, just to see if there's going to be, like, a slow Overlord drop coming in.
Yeah, smart play. And Observatory as well as Reaver Tech on the way. Oh, God, dude. Actually, watching Mini play the series makes me want to play Protoss. This looks just amazing, the way that he is Like I've never seen a Protoss play a game quite like this. The 2-gate, late gas, gets into Robo when he scouts what's going on. Mini just playing fantastically here, and I think effOrt, like, against Reaver Observer, how do you make Lurkerling do anything?
Well, that's the thing. You just can't. I mean, the 2-gate play to just get that answer and figure it out instead of just, you know, going for a Corsair, which I think most Protosses would do, crossing their fingers and praying. By the way, he's going to scout this second tech here. I mean, I can't even imagine how effOrt feels right now.
Oh, I can imagine how he feels, Tastosis. I've lost a lot of embarrassing series, but
I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought we'd see effOrt get downloaded like this, but that is what is happening right now.
Now, Mini is so absolutely on top of everything. I feel like we're going to have a 4-0 here, and he's running up. He's trying to break through. He's got the 3 lurkers hitting those spines, but the spread of the cannons, the spread of the zealots, it feels like it's just going to be enough here for Mini to hold everything, and in fact, it is. He smashes it. Muta's coming across the map. Like, I mean, it's a good idea, but I don't think his economy is good enough to carry that.
No, I don't think so. You know, the Mutas are always going to be a bit of a threat. Dragoons can fight Mutalisks, guys, but they don't kill them very fast. So you have these moments where the Mutas can basically take fights, and, you know, if they can win a fight like the one we're seeing here, they'll do so. The moment it gets uncomfortable, they'll just back right back out.
Yeah. Dude, Dragoons are such a funny unit in this matchup. It's like, I mean, you can overwhelm occasionally, but it's like every Zerg unit actually beats them when they're alone. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny to watch. It's like, well, aren't they an anti-air unit? It's like, nah, man, Mutas beat them. It's not that bad.
Yeah, they're basically good when you have everything else.
Yeah.
Then they're suddenly really handy for the bonus damage that they're dealing out there. Now, we're going to see a Dragoon Reaver push here, like as if this is a PvP. The only way to make this work is to have enough Dragoons that you can strong-arm the Zerg, which it seems like he has enough. He's got to be careful of that shuttle. Ooh!
Gets the shuttle, but takes a bunch of damage there. The Reaver will start walking across the map. The Reaver, of course, here going to make it so the Zerglings don't tip the favor towards effOrt. But it feels like Mini is just, he's got exactly enough at all times. And effOrt, well, hold on. Mutaling is doing, like, kind of okay, but no, more goons are coming out, and I think effOrt's going to lose everything.
Yep, that's it. Dude, this was a 4-0. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm inspired, honestly. Mini made this matchup look so easy and so broken.
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody, I got to remind everyone again, all the Protosses were knocked out. Protoss was looking to be
He was the only Protoss in the round of 8 here. Yeah, and now he is the Protoss in the finals of the tournament, and maybe favored considering he's going up against Sulky, another Zerg player. This was maybe the most impressive display of Protoss versus Zerg that we have seen since Bisu took the mantle as best Protoss in the world. Like, this was unbelievable for Mini.
I do have to be critical of effOrt. I think that he came in here expecting to circumnavigate Mini, you know, to get Mini thrown off. And Mini just seems to be very, very patient and very calculated. He may have the best early game PvZ of all time. Like the way that he's able to just sort of get to where he needs to be so that the mid game is comfortable, the late game might not even need to be a thing. It's really something to admire.
He threads the needle of aggression and greed just perfectly. This, I think, was the perfect build for him, setting all of these zealots up. He forced the scout, figured out what was going on, did not overcommit into Corsairs or anything like that here against effOrt's very tricky play. Definitely not a build that I expected, not something that you see very often, but Mini making it work amazingly. Great micro there, as you saw. He just dodged the drones. Just like, yeah, lose your mining time. It's fine. I have more zealots on the way.
Yeah, and you know, just getting in here, getting the scout off. It's not so much that effOrt, you know, is taking damage economically. It's that effOrt is playing a type of game where he's trying to get his tech out at a moment that's uncomfortable. And what Mini does is he actually parks his tech, does a 2-gate zealot rush to force his way in, and then when he has the answer, he texts into it. So it's really pretty genius.
Just love what we've seen here. And you see the fans pretty excited to have that Protoss player go to the finals. Looks like it's time for our interview.
Let's have a word with today's winner, Mini. Your streak against Zerg in round of 4 games remains unbroken as you move on to the grand final, this time scoring a perfect 4-0. How do you feel about moving to the finals? For starters, I didn't actually expect to win with a 4-0, but this score makes me ever so happier. Not only did you show us great control today, you brought immaculate builds to the table. You really left the Zerg hopeless in those games. And now, as the last Protoss, you move on to face off against Sulky in the finals. What are your thoughts on Sulky as an opponent? Honestly, this goes for all Zergs. I'm fine facing off against them once, but I'm not a fan of meeting any Zerg twice. I think I lose out on mind games and it just gets very confusing. Whoever I could have met in the finals would have been difficult because of that, not just Sulky. Well, just as you hoped, you move on to the grand final stage. You already have one championship under your belt, and you've given yourself a chance for another one. How comfortable are you in this spot? Honestly, my goal for this season was to get to the round of 4. I wasn't able to perform in the last 3 seasons, so I focused on showing good form until the round of 4. But I got to the semi-finals, and I suddenly got thirsty for another championship. So, I would love to get another trophy and become a 2-time champion. You have the highest win rate against Zerg out of all the Protoss in all of ASL. You're the strongest Protoss. You received a lot of support on your way here. Can you tell us a bit more about what to expect from you in the grand final? Fortunately, the series today didn't go all the way, so I still have the builds I prepared for games 5, 6, and 7. I'm glad it didn't, because if it had gone to the rubber match, it would have probably made the finals a lot more difficult. You still have builds stashed away. If you use them in the grand final, what do you think? Does that make victory there possible? Honestly, out of all the Zerg players, Sulky is the most demanding opponent. Well, this is the first time I'm meeting him in a longer series, so I'll have to prepare extra hard. You've got colleagues who've supported you so far. Do you have any words for them? Well, for starters, I would like to thank everyone who showed up to the studio today, even though the game ended so quickly. Thank you. Big thanks to Hero, Jadong, Soma, and Zero for practicing with me. A few streamer friends sent me messages of support. I'm also thankful to my girlfriend who's always there supporting me. I'm very glad I got this far this season and could show her how well I'm doing. A streamer friend by the name of Tomato was as happy as if it was herself playing here, so big thanks to her. I will do my best to show up even stronger in the grand final. Also, I would like to thank a few of my other streamer friends who showed up today. And another one said they would try to come. Well, once again, congratulations. We're looking forward to seeing you even stronger in the grand final. Congratulations.
Man, what a crazy result, Tastosis.
Yeah.
I mean, this was... I'm just shocked. Look, I know that Mini is amazing. We've all seen how well he's played over the past couple of years. This is maybe the best we've ever seen him play. He was so prepared. effOrt was such a threat to take this whole thing. And, it seems like he's in a form where he's, very good at navigating the series again. He didn't seem to have any haphazard builds. Maybe it's because in PvT he's more risk prone. And PVZ, because of the nature of the matchup, he just has to figure out how to stop whatever the Zerg does. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's kind of like a linear nature to Zerg, I think, in the early game that he's very good at abusing. It's just kind of the matchup that he gets the most, and that's going to make this finals amazing. I think you were right to say that Sulky has a bigger range than effOrt. Sulky is absolutely willing to turtle it out and play like a 4-base Defiler-based game. He's willing to Zergling all in. He's willing to 4-pool. He's willing to, you know, do anything. Hydra Bust. He's got a lot. And now that he's seen the way that Mini is approaching this matchup right now, because Mini didn't hold anything back there against effOrt, I think that's going to allow Sulky to prepare and give us just a stellar finals.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. And either way, it's going to be exciting. We've talked about how Sulky needs to win an ASL. He should have won an ASL so many ASLs ago. But on the other hand, I mean, Mini, this guy is really starting to move to the very front of the line, to the very top of the pack. He has such a deep understanding of the matchup. Let's not forget, it was Mini, the guy we were raving about, just going straight into Cybernetics Core and getting a Forge later on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, does he need to make cannons? He'll get a Forge and sometimes not make a cannon until the Stargate's already started. I mean, he just knows how to get ahead of the Zerg. It's very cool to see. But, you know, as you were saying, Tastosis, Sulky can kind of do everything.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a really fun, really special ASL Finals to close out 2023.
You know, yeah, Sulky has gone through like some very, very tough matches to get there to where he is, some ridiculous deficits and everything. I couldn't think of a better finals, honestly. Like, you know, obviously I like to watch Terran games, but this is going to be one of the better PVZs that I think we've ever had in ASL.
I think so. This is going to be maybe one of the best PVZs ever. I could not be more hyped. And, I mean, I don't know who's going to take it. You know, Mini, if he can win again, he really is history in the making. He's starting to get into the area that Queen was in a little while back, where it's like, oh, is Queen just going to keep winning everything?
Yeah, well, if he actually wins this one, I would say that he is probably the second best ASL player ever next to Flash, right? Like that is a huge thing for him to win a second one. He's been in the finals a bunch of times as well, and I think that might actually pass Queen.
I think you're right. Well, Tastosis, any closing thoughts?
Tasteless, it has been a great tournament so far. A big thanks to everyone who has supported us on the Patreon. That's patreon.com/ASL English. And I guess we'll see you guys at the finals.
Bye-bye.